Welcome back to Caelesti. This is going to be the last update for a little while, as I will be taking a break from videos for around the next week to 3 weeks, just because of a few things that are happening at the moment. Speaking of which, on the 23rd of March, Half-Life Alyx will be released. That's actually in 12 days today, and I could not be more excited. I'll be moving my computer downstairs into a much larger room in order to play that. I'll probably be playing some VR games for a good while afterwards as well, which will just mean that there is a halt in videos for the time being. For now, we've got a big update for Caelesti. A lot of changes for today's update I'm very proud to put out. And obviously, after all that hype has died down, I'll be definitely coming back to this to do some more changes in the near future. A combination of things that will make me busy over the next few weeks do mean that this is unfortunately going to be the last video for a while. But that's just the way things are, busy life. So there we go. So first of all, we have the Nether Brick. The Nether Brick item texture has been darkened massively to match the Nether Brick block. This is just simply me being more concurrent. Obviously, I did say that I would wait until after blocks are done to start on items, but I just kind of want to get this one out of the way because it feels like a necessary change to make, considering that it just simply doesn't make any sense right now. There are still only a very small number of item changes, but there'll be more of those coming in the near future. Moving on to blocks, or I should say blocks of X, I guess you could say. We have gold, diamond, and emerald. As you can see here, we have new textures for the diamond and emerald, which more closely match their item counterparts in terms of color, texture, and shape and design as well. And we also have darker gold as well. It was actually a recommendation, or I should say more of a not really a recommendation, but me kind of like seeing the idea of and being inspired by, basically I stole it, of Ninni, who is someone who's in a group I'm in on Discord. Ninni, I don't know if you're watching, thank you very much for the idea, stroke suggestion, whatever you want to call it. Here we have darker gold, which in other words is just more realistic looking gold. This is literally just taken from Google Images search of gold and kind of just like had the colors remapped just to make gold look a little bit more like gold should do in real life. Obviously the gold ore, none of the Minecraft ores make sense, really. But yeah, as you can see, this sort of now matches the color scheme of gold a little bit more. Now, in terms of the gold textures, I've not done many things so far. As I said, I am waiting really to finish up with blocks before we do start on any major item or entity changes. But for now, gold does have a few things. So we have the gold block has obviously been made much darker, much more browny orange as opposed to the original whitey yellow. The ingot has had the same treatment, the ore as well. And in terms of entity textures, we have the badge for the villager. So I believe this is the... Oh, that's broken. that needs changing. We'll do that later. But yeah, the journeyman villager will now have a darker gold badge as well, and also the horse armor will be gold as well. And yes, that is a zebra. So there you go. Moving on from that, we have Quartz. Quartz is making a return from Skir. We have the really shiny, clean, white quartz texture. I really, really like quartz in Minecraft. I think it's a great building material, especially for, quote, modern builds. Obviously, it's like a thing that everyone builds modern houses out of quartz and concrete, which is cool because it's white and clean. But yeah, the fact that bone has become a more clean texture than quartz makes no sense to me because bone is so easily farmable. So I've just simply made it so that quartz is very, very clean. It's very, very, very clean. And I think it looks really, really nice. So the quartz item texture is one of 3 items to be changed. Obviously, we have the nether brick, the gold ingot, and the quartz. It is very simply the same shape and design of the new quartz, but simply toned up loads with beiges and whites, as you can see there. And it just fits the new blocks. Very much so. So again, we have the white block, as you can see there, which is just entirely white, almost exact white, just a tiny bit off white. We have the pillar, which is this two-tone grey and white texture, as you can see there. We have the chiseled variant, which looks almost like a shulker box. Now I realise it. That wasn't the desired effect, but it looks kind of like a shulker box, but it's cool. And we also have the tiles, which are replacing the quote-unquote smooth quartz, because obviously Minecraft did add the ability to have, quote, smooth quartz, which is just the quartz texture without bezels. It was just a kind of smooth on each side. I've opted to change that to quartz tiles, as I do like to do. Haven't changed the lang file just yet, so they are still called smooth quartz, but we'll be getting to some more lang file stuff in the future. The villager inventory is another example of that as well. We have Prismarine. Prismarine has been changed massively. In fact, Prismarine has the biggest update for today. I'll be getting to that in just a second. Prismarine bricks are incredible now. But yeah, first of all, Prismarine is pretty cool. Actual Prismarine itself is no longer animated. It's just simply this one fixed texture all the time, and that is entirely intentional. I was planning on making a new texture for the Prismarine shard, but I wasn't entirely happy with how it came out, so we're going to come back to this one at a later date. Moving on from that, though, we have the Prismarine Bricks. Now, weirdly enough, Prismarine has walls, but Prismarine Bricks doesn't have walls. So I don't understand why that is the case at all. It might be a thing that I want to do in the future where the Prismarine walls are actually crafted out of brick and have the brick texture, because it makes more sense, in my opinion, for the brick variant to have walls than for the natural unrefined variant to have walls. I don't know if that's just me. That seems kind of strange, though. So maybe we'll come back to this in like a data pack type thing and change the texture in SDR, or maybe just in Resurgence of the Void when that finally comes together in the future. But yeah, as you can see here, Prismarine now tessellates properly. Now, what do I mean when I say that? Basically, originally, with the Prismarine texture, all 6 sides of all variants of Prismarine, so the block, the stairs, and the slab, have this texture right here, which is the kind of forking texture. Kind of reminds me of the Black Mirror logo / flowchart type thing, which is what the Black Mirror logo is, I guess. It's a flowchart. But yeah, as you can see now, the block actually tessellates correctly. So every single side of the block kind of converges at the middle in there, and we get this kind of new square offset shape, the kind of diagonal diamond shape, which converges on all sides. This also applies to the underneath of the block as well, where you can see where the texture lines all line up. We get this new texture on the bottom, which looks kind of like that. And I think it looks really, really nice. This has always kind of annoyed me because I feel like Prismarine is a perfect example of how Minecraft is really, really lazy with block textures sometimes. Like, really lazy. It's kind of a shame because there is a perfect example here where having this one texture on all 6 sides makes no sense. It means the block only looks good from the side. If you have it from the top, or you have like a corner piece like this, then it will always look bad. That is no longer the case. So if you have Prismarine tiles in like a diagonal situation, for example, even the monument itself has tiles where you can see the side and the top face at the same time, it will actually look correct. So now you can sort of imagine the Prismarine Bricks block as this kind of like T-shaped piece that you can see here sticking out at me is like one of 4 pieces, and then there's like a central piece as well. And this is further backed up by the underneath of the block, which again matches up like so. So you can see there is, I don't know how to describe it, but there's almost like a T-shape diagonal brick here, which you can see starts down here and finishes up with this diagonal section. And I really like that. I think it looks really good. Now, having done this, I then realized how little sense the stairs and the slab also made. So, of course, I had to go and design entire new textures for those as well. So now there are there's a complete total now of 6 different textures for Prismarine based on which type of block it is, which orientation it is, and I've got a few examples lined up back here. So first of all, we have I should have come over here for the Prismarine blocks, shouldn't I? So yeah, first of all here we have a good example of how the tessellation works correctly. So if you have the Prismarine bricks on the floor, you will get this pattern. If you have them on the ceiling, you will get this pattern. And if you have them on a wall, you will of course get the classic kind of T-junction texture like so. Now, as you can see here, where it starts to get a little bit more interesting is with slabs. I've made it so that the half slab is very much a mimicked version of the full block, but kind of squashed down. So the top texture is the same, the bottom texture is the same, as you can see here. It's actually upside down. The bottom texture is the same, as you can see. It lines up in the same way that regular Prismarine does. So if we put them next to each other, it is literally just the same texture, and the lineup does work perfectly. But obviously the T-junction is squashed down, and it converges in this kind of diamond shape once again, as you can see there. Now the top half slab, which is an entirely different block states that you can actually specify, is just this swapped upside down. So basically the bottom texture is on the top texture is on the bottom, and the side texture is rotated around 180 degrees. If you make a double slab of these things, then you will get both textures at the same time, meaning that you now have a completely unique variation of Prismarine to work with. And it means you can also have the upside texture on Wait, no, it means you can have the bottom side texture on the top half of the Prismarine brick. This opens up so many possibilities. So obviously, having these double slabs be kind of placed upside down against one another when they're placed in a double slab type formation means you can have the bottom side face on the top, but it also means that if you're willing to offset your blocks a little bit, you can have this kind of pseudo-secondary texture on the side here, which is more of a nice diamond shape, and you can have the top side on both the bottom and the top as well. So there are quite a few variations of Prismarine already, as you can see there. If you want to build a floor with the bottom face, you can do with slabs. You can even do double slabs if you don't like to have that kind of half block airspace underneath, which most people don't like. You can do the double slab method. Or obviously you can do stairs. Now, stairs are even nicer. I would argue and say this is one of my favorite textures I've added in the entire thing, just because of how nicely it tessellates. So basically, a rule with stairs here is that all stair blocks, regardless of orientation, will basically make 6 8x8x8 cubes. So you can see here, if I put down a stair like that, like that, like that, like that, all of these are a combination of 6 cubes, which are 8 by 8 by 8 in a grid type pattern, just kind of laid out differently. If I was to match these things up like this, you can see this one's just 7 of the cubes in the same orientation. It's hard to describe entirely, but basically the textures for stairs are a little bit complicated to make. You have the top face, which is cut into these 2 halves. You have the bottom face, which is, it can be a different texture, but I opted to make it the same thing as the top face, meaning that you can build this as a floor by having upside down stairs. And of course, you have the side texture, which for stairs has been split into quite a number of cubes. So as you can see here, regardless of whether or not you be on the edge of a stair this ways, or the edge of a stair this ways, or the back of a stair like this texture will always work because it is 4 8 by 8 cubes, as you can see there. The texture will always work regardless of the orientation of the stairs, and of course this kind of more clean 8 by 8 cube style does work for topside and underside stairs as well, so you can make patterns like this, and I think it looks really good. So basically, if you're like to build with Prismarine, then you have a million more options now. I think this is really cool, and I plan to do this for a lot of slabs. In fact, I've even made a list over here of the slabs that I plan to do it and don't do it for. Yeah, you can see here, these blocks, my justification here is that they're either natural blocks with no bezels, so they don't need to have the slab stair treatment. They are already 4 by 4 cubes, as you can see, or not 4 by 4 cubes, but they're already 8 by 8 or 4 by 4 cubes, so that doesn't need to be done. So again, we have quartz, and we have purple, and we have dark prismarine. And again, you can see here, we have a block which doesn't have bezels, doesn't have bezels, doesn't have bezels. By bezels, by the way, I literally just mean like an outside border, as you can see there. This would be almost appropriate, but again, because you have these longer bricks as well, I have some really good ideas for bricks and slabs, for bricks and planks even. Some really good ideas. But yeah, natural blocks. This one obviously already has its own double slab texture, which actually does work, and obviously there aren't any stairs for the smooth stone slabs, that's fine. And again, we have a natural block here. Again, granite, diorite, andesite, when it's crafted into polished variants, does have bezels, and the list goes on. So basically, every single block that you can see on this back row here at some point in the future will have this same treatment that the Prismarine brick has. It's going to take ages. It's going to take me absolutely ages to do. But by the end of this, we're going to have hundreds of variations of textures for each of these blocks, being it just regular half slabs, upside slabs, double slabs, stairs of all different kind of orientation and variation. There's going to be a lot to play around with. So yeah, if you want to get an idea of what that's going to look like in the future, you can see this kind of quote-unquote list of blocks right there. So yeah, so getting back to it, I have some examples here of the kind of floors that you can use. So given the new Prismarine options, we've gone from being able to make just the side texture as a floor to having these 4 different textures all used as floor blocks. And you can see here that we have the regular Prismarine, the Prismarine bricks, the Prismarine slabs that have been converted to double slabs. And these things right here are actually stairs as well. And that's how we're getting each of those textures. What am I doing? Yeah, spectator mode. There we go. So yeah, dark Prismarine has been made more clean. That's it. There we go. We've transitioned to the simple changes again now. Prismarine crystal has been made to better match up with dark Prismarine because I think it looks much nicer that way. The bezels on the side of the Prismarine in the corners are much thicker and wider. The animation takes longer and is interpolated correctly, so it looks a little bit nicer in that way as well. I've got some more examples of the Prismarine here. We have oak bookshelves, as you can see. I say oak bookshelves. Here's to hoping that we actually get variations of bookshelves in the future, but I don't think it's happening anytime soon, so we can hold our breath, but never mind. But yeah, oak planks now will actually correctly work with bookshelves. Obviously, in the previous update, I changed planks to be a lot more solid and a lot less mushy. One of my biggest complaints with the Japa textures was that the oak planks looked too unsolid and they looked like they wouldn't be a great building material, so I've simply darkened the seams a little bit more so they actually seem a little bit more like a proper building material. Obviously the oak bookshelf does share the same backing texture as the oak planks, so I've simply changed all but where the books are to be the new oak plank texture, as you can see there, and you can see it working in action just here. Haven't added the CTM for bookshelves just yet, but we will be in the future because I do actually really like the bookshelf CTM. I think it's really good. Melons are darker and more accurate to how melons look in real life. I just think they look better, to be honest. I've never been a massive fan of the melon texture in general, especially in Japa. Not even really that much in the old textures, but even more so with these. But yeah, now I'm starting to like it a lot more, as you can see, because I think this kind of darker watermelon-y texture actually fits that of a watermelon more. So yeah, we'll be updating the item in the future as well to match this same color scheme, as well as making the kind of flesh of the melon a lot more saturated to make it look more like watermelon. And finally, a suggestion from Half Halo dude. I've forgotten your name. I'm so sorry. I know you're... Wait, no, aren't you that Halo modder or something like that? I'm so sorry. I know it's Halo related. I'm sorry. Anyway, he made the recommendation of making Netherrack darker, and that I have done exactly. And again, just a note here that it does actually work on many, many levels. Obviously, dark netherrack looks really good in itself, but my nether brick is darker, so it kind of matches up with that. Obviously, nether brick being quite dull and desaturated and brown matches up better with nether brick, considering that you can smelt netherrack to get those nether bricks. And also, obviously, white quartz being very clean and very bright just looks even brighter when it's put against this much darker netherrack now as well. So there you go. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. That was Caelesti Update 5 of the beta release. I will actually be releasing this pack in my Discord server in the announcements channel. So if you want to join the Discord server and download all of these assets and try them out for yourself, you are more than welcome to. And if you're wondering about the zebra and also raccoons, I should have a raccoon around here somewhere. There's a raccoon. Hello, dude. We have raccoons now. There he is. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. It's just a variation on the fox and the horse, obviously. But yeah, if you want to download those as well, they are part of SDR 115-4. So again, if you want to download those, they're part of the quote-unquote data pack. I've said quote-unquote a lot today, haven't I? They're part of the data pack resources, but you can also just download them to get an idea of how these textures will work when the features are properly implemented in the future as well. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this update for Caelesti. As usual, if you do have any recommendations or suggestions for me moving forward, please do comment them below. And next time we come back with the pack, we'll have a lot more block changes and a few more item changes, I believe, as well. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, donate to my Patreon, follow me on Duolingo, subscribe, like the video, log into an alternate account and like the video twice because it will really help me out, guys. And also follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.